Hello and welcome to The Farm. This week we come to you from inside the Bombay High Court, a location that rarely allows cameras. There's a reason why we're here and I'll get to it in just a bit. But first up, here's what we have for you on the show this week. 150 glorious years of the Bombay High Court through the eyes of its current Chief Justice Mohit Shah. And the tech specs on the giant Apple versus Samsung patent battle. Who would win if they were to fight it out in India? In a nation besieged by allegations of corruption, failing institutions and declining standards of integrity, I found a reprieve this week in the Bombay High Court that is celebrating a grand 150 years of its existence. In this magnificent central court is an exhibition that showcases some of Bombay High Court's most finest moments, moments that have shaped India's history. So the pride of place on this week's show goes not to some new law, tax, policy or regulatory development. It goes to an institution that has stood the test of time, the test of 150 years.
Our history even goes beyond 150 years. The first court of judicature at Bombay was established on 8th August 1672 and the then governor of Bombay, General Ongiyar, said that judges will be dispensing justice without considering the caste or community of the suitors. The government decided that the justice adjudication of disputes will be done in an institution which will be manned by independent judges, and this independence was shown by Sir John Peter Grant, whose portrait you will see. In 1828, when the governor of Bombay refused to enforce the writs issued by the High Court, by the Supreme Court, which was then, he said, we will close down the courts, and he did carry out this and closed the court for 5 months. I mean, this was the independence that was exhibited by judges right from earlier days. It was as far back as in 1828 that he spoke these memorable words, "Within these walls there is no equal or superior than the God and the King." And that is what we now say, that within these walls there is no equal or superior than the Constitution of India.
On August 14, 1862, the Bombay High Court became India's second High Court and covered in its jurisdiction Karachi to Karnataka. Nanabhai Haridas was the first Indian to become a permanent judge of this court. And as the nation rose up against British rule, the Bombay High Court played home to many of our sterling leaders.
The great leaders of the independence movement were all advocates or barristers on the roll of this High Court, including Mahatma Gandhi. He became a barrister and joined this court in 1891. Then we had Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Kanhaiyalal Munshi, Vallabhbhai Patel, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. So we had this great galaxy of the Indian freedom fighters who were advocates, the barristers of this court.
It was in this very central court that Lokmanya Tilak's sedition trials took place between 1897 and 1916. A plaque outside the courtroom serves as an evocative reminder of his patriotism. That tablet was unveiled by M.C. Chagla, a legendary judge and the first Indian Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court in independent India.
At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
Sir Leonard Stone, who was the last British Chief Justice, and he said that on India getting independence, the Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court should also be an Indian. So he handed over the reins of his office on the midnight of 14th August 1947. Our first Chief Justice after independence was Chief Justice M.C. Chagla. He was a Chief Justice of this court for 11 years, and he took this institution to such great heights that today also the Chief Justice's court is known as Chief Justice Chagla's court. The room where I am sitting was occupied by Chief Justice Chagla, and all subsequent Chief Justices have been occupying that courtroom and dispensing justice from that courtroom, and it is still known as Chief Justice Chagla's courtroom. We have a portrait of Chief Justice Chagla looking over my shoulders. We also have a bust of Chief Justice Chagla, where as soon as the lawyers and the litigants enter the courtroom, they see the bust of Chief Justice Chagla, where they can reflect that here is a great institution where the great Chief Justice was there. We also had very great lawyers after independence in Sir Motilal Satalwad, who was the first Attorney General of India, Mr. C.K. Daftari, who was the first Solicitor General of India, and of course the first Chief Justice of India.
From Supreme Court Chief Justice Y.V. Chandrachud to eminent jurist Nani Palkhiwala, the Bombay High Court's contribution to India's justice system is a long and luminous one. Around the same time, the High Court played host to another important turn in India's judicial history, the last jury trial in 1960.
Well, the last case where we had the jury assisting the court was the famous case where Nanavati was charged, the naval commander was charged for murder, and that was the case where the jury gave the verdict in his favor that he was not guilty. But the session judge did not agree with him, and therefore the case was referred to the High Court, where a bench of 2 judges heard the case and held him to be guilty. There was a feeling that the jury, the common citizens who compose the jury, may sometimes be swayed by emotions and not necessarily by the evidence on record, and the court of law has to decide cases according to the evidence on record.
In the last 50 years, the Bombay High Court has followed the city's meteoric rise to a global financial center.
Bombay High Court is in the forefront of adjudication of disputes in the commercial field. You must have seen all cases under the Income Tax Act and the Excise Act, or even cases against regulatory agencies like SEBI and Electricity Regulatory Commission. So we have been in the forefront because Bombay is the commercial capital of India, undoubtedly. Apart from this commercial cases, Bombay High Court is also very well known as the defender of civil liberties of the people.
But all institutions need renovating, and Chief Justice Shah is doing that to both the building and its functioning. The English Gothic structure, built at a cost of 16 lakh rupees, is now under a 10 crore rupee restoration project. In his 2 years as chief, he has also focused on modernizing the functioning of the High Court and the district judiciary, e-payment of court fees, fast-track mobile courts, updation of computer records, and training of judicial officers.
We have tried to see to it that the cases are assigned to judges who have specialized in that branch of law. So we are able to deal with them more expeditiously and with more competency also. The litigants who file cases before us, they are told in advance that their case will be listed on such and such date. So they don't have to come and make inquiries. We inform them, they can find out about the status of their case on their cell phones also.
The changes have helped reduce case pendency. The Bombay High Court now has an ambitious target.
We are waiting for more judges to come, and thereafter we'll see to it that no case should remain pending in the High Court for more than 5 years. That will be our priority.
Before we sign off, kudos to advocate and philatelist Rajan Jayakar, who organized this exhibition.
Well, a good memory about this High Court, because normally the people come here who are advocates or litigants. There are hardly lay people who just come to see an exhibition. But this exhibition has given them an insight, and in fact we are also coming out with a booklet which will give a little synopsis of the exhibition. That is the memory that they are going to take it back. A beautiful walk down memory lane. Well, from history to the future.
the future of intellectual property protection and competition or consumer access to technology. Up next, we ask how India would judge the Apple versus Samsung battle that's playing out in 9 different jurisdictions.